What up? It's your buddy Incredible Man. Yes, I'm back at it again. And I just watched American Horror Story 1984, episode 6. And it was actually episode 100 for like the whole series of American Horror Story. And dude, it was absolutely fantastic. That's how you make a 100th episode. That's how you do a 100th episode justice. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved every moment of it from start to finish. And a lot of stuff I said pretty much came true on certain things. Yes. Let's just dive right into the episode, man, because it was awesome, man. Okay, so the episode started with where it was ending last week on the little flash part, and that was sorry about the train. And that was where we saw Robert Rodriguez, aka the Night Stalker, with Mr. Jingles, and they were at a hotel in where he was about to kill this woman, but he didn't. He didn't kill her, but that's why you don't just go knocking on your neighbor's door at a hotel. I mean, you don't know these people. They could be killers. So let's leave these people alone. And she goes there, and he almost killed her, but Mr. Jingles told him to let her go. He let her go, and then they go into this whole spiel about Mr. Jingles saying he's tired of being dragged around from place to place by the Night Stalker, and he's tired of him killing people left and right every time you turn around. And he was like, do you know how many people you've killed lately? He was like, I don't know, a lot. And he was like, 11. And I see their faces. So that was really weighing on Mr. Jingles. So the next day they go out, they're having a fun time, riding around town. And he was like, stop by the store. They stopped by the store. He was like, you want something? And he was like, yeah, bring me a tab. And he sees the Night Stalker's pictures on the paper, and he shows all of these people in this little neighborhood where they stopped at his picture, and they all gang up on dude and beat the brakes off this man, and he ends up in jail. And the funny thing is because I know he's a serial killer, but I really love the Night Stalker, man. Dude he's a wonderful character. Him and a whole bunch of the other characters on this show this season are absolutely fantastic characters, and I love them so much, man. So after that happens, then we see Mr. Jingles riding off into the sunset. In his story, next thing you know, he jumps off and he's in Alaska. He's living a nice, wonderful life. He shaved, he cleaned himself up, and he has a wife, and he has a baby. So his life seems to progress very nicely, and he's living his life, and he's trying to put everything in the past behind him and move forward, which I really respected until we got to the end of the episode, man. And boy, did it just took a horrible turn. This man was living a wonderful life, and he was about to be promoted in the Video Shack. That's definitely 80s, man. And Robert Rodriguez uses Satan's powers, and he somehow gets there and kills his wife and throws his baby in the closet. Dude. And at the ending of this episode, towards the end, and we saw Mr. Jingles, he had given all that up. He turned back into Mr. Jingles, and he's heading back to Camp Redwood. Everything's happening at Camp Redwood. Okay, now that's his storyline. And then we get to let's start at the camp, because the camp stuff happened at the camp. So in this whole episode, honestly, it was like a little bit of a time skip between each little iterations that was going on in this episode. We jumped to 1985, and then we jumped to like 1989. So I like the way that they transitioned between the two and showed that it was a nice little future references. So then we have the camp. We get back to the camp, and we have Montana and Xavier just killing people like this was what they were born to do. They're just killing. This dude, first of all, you there with your girlfriend, and Montana said, you want to stick it into me? And he was like, oh God, yes. And she said me first, and she just gutted him. And well, I love that because it was so reminiscent of classic 80 horror movies. Like when she gutted him and stuck him, like all of the blood just spewed out. I mean, you could tell it was fake blood, but it just looked so fun, and it reminded me of the classic 80 movies, and I love that. Then we have Ray has been covering up for Montana and Xavier for killing these people. And at this point, they were just constantly killing people. And Ray was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm not cleaning up for you guys anymore, because they killed the photographer and the bird watcher and his wife or girlfriend. I mean, dude. So they're straight murderers now. I mean, they're dead, but they're straight murderers. Now, the only thing I really want to know about this whole episode and everything that's going on is, how is the camp able to have all these people in this purgatory type thing? Is it because so many people died there? Because this episode, we also found out and seen the 3 counselors that Margaret killed back in the 70s. The ones that, that were picking on her. We saw these 3 as well in the purgatory place with Ray and Montana and Xavier. So that's why I want to know, how is this happening to where they're being trapped there and not moving on? Is it because, like, if you're killed violently and that makes you stay? I don't know. They're not really explaining how that happens. Maybe they'll go more into depth in later episodes. Then we find out that Ray and Montana and Xavier, they all find out that Brooke is going to be executed. For nothing. She didn't do anything. And then Montana was, well, she killed me, but you were trying to kill her. So, I mean, that was justified. Just being real. So then we also have the Night Stalker in prison as well. We have him in prison, and he sees Brooke, and he's telling her that, hey, long time no see. and she was like, well, yeah, Montana's not going to be here because I killed her. And she was like, she's probably in hell looking at Satan's balls. And he was like, she would be so lucky. It was fun. I actually really enjoyed this episode. So then we have him the whole time while he's in prison trying to convince Brooke to sell her soul to the devil with him so he can kind of gain, I guess, maybe like a higher status or something. I really don't know. So, and every time she turned him down. She turned him down flat every time. Then we find out that he has some other side chick that walks into the prison and tells him about the camp thing that Margaret has set up. And then we have him possessing the guard to unlock himself, to free himself, to escape. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's real. It got into some stuff. They really didn't explain it. So maybe he actually appeared in Alaska with Mr. Jingles. I don't know. They didn't really explain that. But he wanted to do all of that because, Mr. Jingle abandoned the pact that he made. So the whole Robert Rodriguez thing is very fishy because, like, we know he has powers because he's in constant communication with Satan, but they don't really touch on how he has powers. I mean, they're not really explaining it. And that pretty much wraps up his whole story. Then we get to see, I called it. I thought he was going to be like the Jason character of the show because, like, you guys remember the previews that we saw up to this season. We had that one guy in a lake jumping out killing people, but I thought that was going to be Chet. But Chet, he's not alive, but he's like, but he's a ghost in the purgatory place. So he's up there with Montana, Xavier, and Ray, and our Chet is so pissed, man. They had a press conference there to promote Camp Redwood because Margaret is this super business mogul lady now. I'm going to tell her story in a minute. And then there's this crowd of reporters and everything, and Chet was like, I don't care. I'm killing Margaret now. Do you know what it feels like to have every cell in your body screaming for oxygen and it can't get any? You're only swallowing water the whole time? Dude, that is, like, everybody else pretty much died kind of instantly. I mean, like, well, Montana took a couple shots, but everybody else pretty much died instantly. And that didn't happen to Chet, man. Chet, like, drowned, and I think Chet had a horrible death. Chet had a horrible death. But he wanted to kill Montana. I mean, he wanted to kill Margaret, and Montana was like, no. Let's wait till this whole thing kicks off, because at that time, we're going to have a blast, because they're going to just kill everybody. But this episode is full of surprises, because you want to know why? Because also we find out Trevor's not dead. Trevor is alive. And him and Margaret have a relationship. They're in this whole business and everything. They're going together. And he was supposed to be blackmailing her, but technically she's kind of blackmailing him. And so, like, they kind of worked out this whole ordeal, because now Margaret is like this super successful business mogul that's been taking real murder locations and turning them into tourist spots and profiting off the fact that people were killed here. So it's a horrible thing, but what she's doing is now, and I'm assuming that's kind of allowing her to have all of these dark thoughts subside a little bit, maybe, I don't know. But I love the whole interaction with her and Trevor when they were at their house, and she was like, your only useful thing is the tool between your legs. And she was like, that's not doing much, all of the coke you're doing. I love this episode, man. It was hands down, like, I don't know what's next to come in these next couple episodes, but I'm super excited to find out, but as of right now, this is the best episode for me. I enjoyed it absolutely, man. It was one of the best episodes. Then that wraps up everybody's story, right? Except for Brooks. Brooke is on she's on death row, and she decided to take lethal injection. So we have her going through all her ordeal, kind of contemplating and everything, and then we have her being walked into the room to have the lethal injection done. Then you see the doctor that's there to give her the lethal injection, but the doctor is covered up, like completely, like from head to toe. You can't see or tell who the doctor is. Now, I'm not a writer, but in my mind, I knew that this was the only way to make this story go, because this is going to make the story way more interesting, because the person that gave her the lethal injection was fake Rita, and fake Rita and Mark and Brooke are going to work together to take down Margaret, the Night Stalker, maybe, probably, possibly Mr. Jingles, if the Mr. Jingles doesn't get to the Night Stalker himself. And I don't know how they're going to handle the people at the camp, because they're ghosts. They can't really kill them unless they burn down the camp. That could work, that may work. I don't know. Honestly, man, it's getting real crazy, and the story is like, it's so twisted. Like, the moment you think you know something and understand it a little bit, they switch it on you, because now we have Brooke and Rita working together because she saved Brooke from execution, and everyone thinks Brooke is dead. And we have Trevor and Margaret working together, and Trevor kind of wants to get out of it, but he doesn't really know how. Then we have Montana and Xavier running around the camp killing people. We have the 3 old school counselors, along with the one that we found on the side of the road at the beginning of the series. We have Ray running around the camp, and we don't know if any of these other people that they've killed could come back. Then we have Chet running around the camp that's ghost. There's so much going on. Then we have the Night Stalker that's headed to Camp Redwood. We have Mr. Jingles headed to Camp Redwood. There's a lot of killing going on, and I don't know how they're going to handle it, but I'm super excited to see every part of it, man. This is your boy, Dick Incredible. Don't forget to smash that like button till you can't smash it anymore. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them. And subscribe, but only if you really want to, man. Peace out.